Hey ho, hey, hi, what's up? We're reading a new chapter of Boku no Hero Academia. This is 266. In the last one, we saw a heartbreaking fight between Twice and Hawks. Neither of them really wanting to do this, both of them extremely distraught that it actually had come to this. Hawks trying to reach out to Twice, saying, I still think you're a good person. I feel so bad about betraying you specifically. Please come into the light and join the world of heroes. Twice, who feels so indebted to his League compatriots, who feels like he would have nothing if not for them, not being able to accept that Hawks would be against him, that would be against his beloved friends. Okay, and then in the middle of that fight, Dabi just pops in, blasts fire everywhere, gigantic inferno surprise attack. Hawks looks like this would be a pretty bad matchup. His feathers seem quite flammable, but he's not a top-ranked hero for no reason. Flying out of there with a feather sword, rescuing Twice. You lost most of your weapons, yeah. So his feathers are flammable. He's pretty singed. His typical kind of blasé, cool boy attitude. Not really flying anymore. Wait, I just remembered. Did I change? No, I... Okay, now the mic should be synced. I don't know what made me think of that, but I'm glad I did. You nearly burned up your friend. Nah, because I know that heroes must always be ready to save a life. Huh. So Dabi basically was not willing to sacrifice Twice. In fact, he actually did it because he knew that Hawks would save him. That's quite dastardly, but at the same time it shows, you know, some care for his comrade, that he might not have done that had he not been so confident in Hawks' heroics. I like that dynamic. I like the villains taking advantage of what they know about the heroic nature. Because in kind of isolating and almost exploiting aspects of heroism, we get yet another interesting development in this whole conversation of what is the difference between a hero and a villain, and so on. Such cutting sarcasm. Force of the attacker. It's like you almost knew about me already. What gave me away? Nothing. I never believed anything from the start. My wings are burned and crippled. Besides thus being my worst possible matchup, we're fighting in cramped quarters. He's got the winning hand here. To prioritize the mission. Bubai Gawara is weakened. I avoided his vitals, but sliced up his bones and muscles, enough to prevent a full-blown rampage. Uh-oh. But Twice is too much of a wild card. Just because it's probably pure agony for him to move a single muscle doesn't mean that he will not dive into that agony. He runs out of the room, splurting blood, telling Dabi to finish him off. Ooh, I love this. This is the sort of stuff I'm looking for in arcs like this. Big rage with simultaneous fights is sometimes cutting to other fights. Before, I've talked about how I like when the fights kind of like cross over and start interfering with one another, but it doesn't have to be full-blown interference or even like a plot point. Just showing the scale of some of the other battles by seeing them from the perspective of familiar battles does a whole lot. So this shot here, where they're outside the mansion, Cementos is melting stuff away, all heroes in full effect, and then way up in this high room, you just see the force of Dabi's attack. It looks small because, you know, it's far away. That's how perspective works. But because of the grandeur of the rest of the battle happening, because there's already that kind of like scope and epicness, you just see just this blast happening in it, and it seems to carry so much weight. It seems to be like this, I don't know, like the signification of it, almost mysterious but haunting to the heroes, being like, did we have one of those fire guys on our side? Ooh, no, Endeavor was at the hospital. Ooh, that's probably that fire villain. You know, that kind of ominousness. Just like it. I really like it. Anyways. Okay, so just use enough to make quick work of those heroes down there. So Dabby definitely realizes. Dabby being so cynical and stuff has definitely clued in on the true potential of Twice. And I think the rest of the heroes, the villain league, kind of understands this as well. But out of genuine compassion for him, they're trying to avoid forcing him into it. They're trying to respect his complexes and his insecurities and just trying to gently bring out his powers when the time is right. On the other hand, Dabby is just like, don't you realize that you're just a walking nuke? Don't you realize that you actually are more powerful than like any other character we've seen in the series potentially? Why don't you just go down there and win this war for us single-handedly? So go nuts! The others are waiting for you. Yeah, that's probably exactly what Twice wanted to hear as well. He feels so bad knowing that he had let in Hawks, the betrayer. His loyalty and his willingness to sacrifice everything for his comrades has only redoubled, retripled, requintupled since learning about this betrayal. The exact opposite of what Hawks hoped would happen. Hawks so quickly, flying around, slicing through. Damn. Oh, the way this is depicted is so badass. Just this like shadow with the one wing. Sephiroth. Yeah, that's the song One Winged Angel. Sephiroth. Sephiroth. Okay. It's cool to see Hawks like trying hard. Hawks moving this quickly. It's a different kind of fight than we've seen him in before. He's disadvantaged in terms of resources. He can't just kind of spam feathers. He doesn't have the luxury of kind of choosing how he's engaging. He just has to straight up fight. Out of my way. Keiko Tamaki. Who's that? Dang, it's just like when Hawk said Twice's name, and I was like, that sounds kind of familiar. Who's that? I don't know. Keigo Takami. How did you know my name? Oh, so that's Hawks' real name. Who are you? Another big fire blast. Again, just these little perspective shots. This one is less insane because, you know, we're following Twice now. But again, just a quick shot to the aftermath of the attack from a different perspective, I think does so much in terms of establishing a scene and setting kind of relative impact of different incidents. Gotta protect everyone. There's Compress and Toga, both running from some really strange quirk that's on the hero's side. Some weird snake generation thing. Spinner hanging out down in the underground area, watching everybody kind of start to panic as they realize there's not many exits left. Maybe trying to figure out how the heck can I convince Gigantomachia to fight for us. Attack them twice. They accepted me. How do I pay them back? Causing them more pain. I can't let it end this way. It's a pretty brutal character, really. It's, again, I'm always impressed with this series' eagerness to have us empathize with the villains. Twice, you know, you could barely call him a villain anymore in many ways, but now he's becoming something much scarier, like not a villainous weapon, but a weapon for through the power of friendship, who's going to use the power of friendship to power up just like any other good shonen protagonist. Except this time he's fighting against the heroes. Ooh, sure, my whole life it seems like I've been a man falling lower and lower, getting duped. Jeez, like really think about it. What it's like for Hawks to be betrayed by Twice. What it was like for Hawks to wait, no, I said that backwards. What it was like for Twice to be betrayed by Hawks. What a terrible blow that was to everything he felt like he was establishing with his new life and his new connections and everything. To you, my life looks pathetic, meaningless. Whoa, this hero is so creepy. You're under arrest, so I'm swallowing you up. These foul things must have sensory capabilities. What the heck is this quirk? They're just ballooning out of his hands. This guy seems really strong, though. He's able to subdue 2 League members at the same time, at least temporarily. See, people might have your reasons, but once you start taking it out on society, we heroes can't allow you to have your way. This time it's over, League of Villains. Oh, it's time. More doubles at once, twice. Okay. That's something about this is so brutal. The fact that this must be his actual body, because we can see it's all charred and bruised and bleeding and stuff. He's not doubling himself. This is actually just the original that ran over and stabbed him. And like, the stabbing is such like a brutally realistic thing, especially against this hero that has magic snake hands. Like, just the contrast there is so jarring, so horrifying that it's just a knife. And the fact that even though it seems, you know, a little understated, I guess, a little insufficient to go up against the powers, all the crazy powers of these heroes, the fact that we know twice his potential, that if he just starts spamming doubles of himself, and they're all running around with these knives, that very quickly becomes, you know, the greatest threat involved in this war. So it's like the ominousness of just the simple act of stabbing, this real world act of violence that actually represents, you know, the greatest tide rising against the heroes. Very well done. Very creepy, disturbing panel. So I can press can't make more. See, all I've got is just to hold this form together. We're holding back a big dump. So you got dropped down with the concrete from up there. See, it's my fault again. Fox pulled one over on me. I stooped again. Sorry. Give you back your hanky. This. Oh, she doesn't want it back. It's so bloody. And now he's truly dissolving. Can't make more of me. Sorry for everything. Oh. Jeez. That feeling of dissociation where you stop identifying with yourself. It's very, very, very scary. Of course, you don't literally melt into a puddle like Twice is, but it feels like you are. It feels like the kind of scaffolding you've built up around yourself. The pathways that allow you to work on yourself, that allow you to set goals and track progress and observe your own growth and feel good about yourself. Kind of this internalized rigging of self-esteem. You can really feel like that's crumbling away. And then all that you're left with is what you see before yourself, this body. And it doesn't feel like much. It doesn't feel like you're left with anything you would call a self, just a body. Thank you for saving me. I asked for a better life. So, what do you think? Is this thank you from Toga going to be able to penetrate through these spirals of self-doubt? Is he going to realize that none of his comrades blame him for screwing up and getting seduced by Hawk and spilling a whole bunch of secrets? It would have happened to any of them. Nobody blames him for being unable to fight in this critical situation. They understand. You know, if he's able to break through with that reality, could his body come back together better than ever? Have we seen a new healing technique, such as like Dr. Stone, where you let yourself melt just a little bit, and then when you come together, all your wounds are healed, and then he starts spamming Twice clones everywhere? I don't know. I think that would be kind of hype, because they've hyped up the potential of Twice as this weapon. But then I almost like the idea that they never actually show that full extent of his power. That it always just kind of remains this hypothetical apocalyptic weapon. And then, of course, there's no limits to it. Whereas if they actually had him do it, then there had to be, eventually there'll be some solution. There'll be some reason that it didn't work, something that beats it. Um, I think this is a pretty fitting end for the character if he actually goes out like this. That he's so absorbed in these shame spirals and so defeated because he feels like he's betrayed his friends, but in the end, he connects with his friends one last time, and he feels truly, truly grateful for them, and feels like his life would have nothing good if not for that. It's kind of complete. It just is just the end. I don't know. Die, Hawks. But you don't get to tell me that I was unlucky. Being here with them, I was happy. So it kind of looks like it's the end for Twice. Such an entertaining character, so strange, such a perverse, weird sense of humor to kind of inject into the mix of all the other weirdness happening in the League of Villains. And as I said, this revelation, this slow burning realization that he is actually one of the most powerful characters conceivable in this series. I think it's fitting to go out like this. That in the end, it much more was about his emotional state and this absence of connections than anything to do with his powers. All right, well, I guess we'll find out if that really is the end for him next week. Please join me then. Bye-bye for now.